Welcome in guys, Mr. Moneyman here. So today we're going to be talking about the most frequently asked questions that new home buyers have when they're looking to buy their first home. Now, if you're looking to buy your first home, I can understand this is a very stressful time, seeing as purchasing your first house can be one of the biggest investments that you ever make in your life. But if you're here watching this video and listening to this advice, then it means that you're ready to learn and you're ready to make sure that you do it the right way. And if you do, then in the end, guess what? You're going to be less stressed out. But enough of this, let's get to the point already. So I'm going to go through the 5 biggest questions that I think every home buyer comes across when they go through the first home buying process, and some answers to these questions to make sure that you don't go down the wrong route and make a mistake. But before we get to that, a couple of housekeeping items. First, let me know in the comments below what your biggest question is regarding the home buying process, and if this video doesn't answer it, I'll make sure to answer it there. Second, don't forget to smash that like button below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to my channel. It'll only take you 2 seconds to do it and it's going to be a big help to me. Alright, so question number 1. Should you use a realtor to help you buy a home or go at it alone? With of course the biggest follow-up question, how much do I need to pay this realtor? So for those of you that think that you can save a buck by not using a realtor, well, the joke's on you because it actually costs $0 to use a realtor nowadays. The seller of a house is actually always responsible for paying both realtors, both the realtor helping them sell the house and the realtor helping you buy the house. And besides the fact that they're free, if you have a knowledgeable one, they'll be able to tell you reasons why not to buy a specific house after you go and see it with them, because they usually have a trained eye to see things that we really can't see. I know my realtor has saved me countless times from houses that I thought were amazing, and then finding things that I had no idea that they were even there, and they actually ended up being deal breakers. The other benefit is that you get access to the multiple listing service, otherwise known as the MLS. This system has all of the most up-to-date information on all of the houses that are available on the market, and trust me, it's a lot better than Zillow or Realtor.com or any other website out there. Alright, so question number 2. How much house can I realistically afford? Now I'm going to tell you right off the bat, as a good rule of thumb, that you should not be spending more than 3 times your family's yearly gross income. So if your family makes $100,000 per year combined, your house should not be more than $300,000. But this is by no means a hard or fast rule. You need to look at other factors as well, such as your debt and income and your debt to income ratio. Now you can run these calculations easily through the NerdWallet calculator, and I'll put a link to this calculation in the description below. You can tell this calculator your interest rate if you already know it from your mortgage officer, as well as how much of a down payment you're willing to put down on your house, or you can leave it blank and it will automatically show you what 20% would be. Also, how long of a loan you're looking for, and most importantly, your yearly income and monthly debts. As you can see, when I changed my income, the amount that I could afford also changed up here. And now it'll tell me what price I can afford based off of the monthly payments that I would be comfortable with. Now I can move this payment up and down to see how much I would be stretching the price based on what I can afford, and as I do this, it shows me what amount I would need to put down to acquire this property. I can also put down an amount of what I feel comfortable paying, and then it will update my affordability price and my monthly payment. All in all, I think it's a pretty slick tool that I used when I was starting out in real estate, and I think that it could help you out too. But anyways, we're going to move on to the next question, which is how much money should I put down on my house? Now there's a very big misconception that you need to put 20% down in order to buy a house. Now I will tell you, my friend, that is 100% not true. If you are buying a house for yourself to live in, you only need to put a minimum of 3% down, and you should always take advantage of this because of leverage. Putting 20% down on your primary residence makes you a sucker, and for this one major reason. Cash is king. The cash that you save on your down payment can be used to buy another investment property or be put into the stock market, and you can bet that you're going to get a lot higher return there than you would putting it into your home equity. Because guess what? Home equity does not give you a higher return, people. It just takes away your cash and your buying power. The more leverage you use, the harder your money will work for you. If you want to learn more about how leverage works, take a look at the video linked right up above, and it'll give you a solid explanation of how leverage works and how you can use it to your advantage. Now the counter argument to putting less than 20% down is, oh wow, I have to pay PMI now. And this gives us a perfect segue into number 4. What is PMI, and do I have to avoid it like it's the Black Plague? Now PMI stands for Private Mortgage Insurance, and it's definitely not as scary as the Black Plague. Basically, when you put less than 20% down, the lender gets a little bit scared. So they make you pay a little bit extra to make sure that they can insure themselves. In layman's terms, if you can't pay your mortgage and you default on your loan, they're protected. Now, anytime I talk to somebody about their loan and how much they're willing to put down on their new house if they're looking for a house right now, they usually tell me 20%. And their biggest reason for this is because they don't want to pay this PMI fee. Now, I get it from an emotional standpoint. It's a couple $100s every month, or it could be, depending on your loan amount and your credit score. But let's go ahead and analyze why you shouldn't care about paying this PMI fee and why you should pay 3% down instead of 20% down. First, the obvious reason. You can save up to 17% of your cash on your down payment, which is a giant chunk of change for any home value. When you're buying a house that you plan to live in, your only cost is not the cost of the house. You may have moving expenses or more furniture to buy due to it being a bigger place than your last residence. So any money that you can save up front will help you with all that. And not only that, but you can invest this extra money elsewhere, potentially a rental property or in the stock market. Second, PMI can be removed off of your loan very easily after a couple of years. Once you have 20% equity in your home, these PMI will automatically fall off. So this PMI is only for a few years. And in most circumstances, it can be removed much earlier. Also, if your home goes up in value earlier, whether by just the market going up or because you made a lot of renovations and improvements, you can get an appraisal on your house and use that new home value to be used against removing your PMI. For example, my first primary residence that I bought, I purchased it for $260,000 and only put 5% down because back then that was the lowest I could do. 3% just wasn't an option. And I was paying $150 per month in PMI. In 2019, the house appraised for $295,000 and my loan only had $228,000 left on it. Because now I had 22.8% equity due to the increase in the home value, I no longer had to pay PMI. So honestly, I would much rather keep the extra cash on the down payment and pay the PMI fee because over those 3 years, I invested all that money and I made a lot more than I would have if it would have just sat in equity in my house. Now on to the final question. I don't know anything about getting a home loan. What all do I need to know about this? Now this one has 4 big parts to it that I want to answer. 1, the type of loan, whether it's conventional, FHA, or something else. 2, how long of a loan you should get. 3, what are the mortgage points and should I buy them from my lender or not? And 4, how do closing costs work? So I'm going to quickly breeze through these, starting off with the type of loan. And the big 2 are either conventional or FHA. Now, I've always used conventional for several reasons. The first is because you can get down to a 3% down payment versus a 3.5% down payment for an FHA. On the flip side, an FHA is also easier to qualify for, albeit with more restrictions though. If you have a lower credit score, you may not have a choice and you may have to go FHA. But you'll also be stuck with PMI no matter what your down payment amount is. Also, with FHA, you will never be able to remove this PMI like you would with a conventional loan. You're stuck with it until you sell the house or refinance to a conventional loan. The second part is the duration of the loan, whether you're going with a 15-year loan or a 30-year loan. If you want to take advantage of leverage for a longer period of time, then a 30-year loan is the way to go. But if you want to get your house paid off because you probably won't invest the extra money you would save on a 30-year loan monthly payment, then the 15-year loan option is going to be better for you, as long as you can afford the higher monthly payment. A 15-year loan will also have better interest rates, so that's something to keep in mind. But usually, I'm not in favor of these. I always go 30-year loans for all of my mortgages. And speaking of interest rates, third is mortgage points. Now you're probably like, what the hell is a mortgage point? Basically, what your lender is asking is if you'd want to pay these mortgage points to pay down your interest rate. In plain terms, they're asking if you want to pay them money, and in return, they're going to give you a lower interest rate on your loan. And to determine if this is a good idea and whether you should or shouldn't do it, you need to figure out your break-even price, and you need to figure out how long you're planning on living in the house. For example, if you're planning on living in the house for 10 years, and your lender says he can reduce the interest rate on the loan by 0.25%, let's say from 3.25% down to 3% for a cost of $1,200, then you have to calculate the monthly payment on both of those rates. Let's say for 3.25% it's $1,530 a month, and for 3% it's $1,510 per month. Well, you're saving $20 a month from this, right? So if you take your $1,200 you have to pay to get this interest rate reduction and multiply that $20 you're saving by the number of months it would take to get you to $1,200, you will get your break-even amount. In this case, it will take you 5 years to break even. So as long as you will stay in the house for over 5 years, sure, pay the points, because after that time, you are saving money on your loan every single month. And where and when do you pay these points, do you ask? Well, on the closing date, of course, which brings us finally to closing costs. Closing costs are the costs that you pay to a lender and whoever else is helping you close the loan, such as a title company or an appraiser, etc., on the day that you close. Now, these usually amount to about 3% of the purchase price of the home. And some of these costs are actually negotiable, but most of them are fixed fees that the lender charges everyone. Now, when you're buying your house, don't forget to talk to your realtor about potentially having the seller pay for part or all of your closing costs. This can lower the burden that you have to put down in cash when you come to the table to close. And if the numbers make sense, you may be able to get away with not paying any closing costs at all. So there you have it, the 5 major questions that most first-time home buyers want answered. Drop me a comment below if you have any more questions regarding this subject, and don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.